Hey yo again everyone, KCR Jones here, and we're here today with another episode of From the Shipping Box. This is episode 3, a box full of boxes. So right before I go ahead and open this box, I just want to point out that this time, once again, this is a box that I know entirely what's inside and what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to try to make this a little quicker, but no promises, folks. But this box was purchased all by myself on trains.com, or really through their eBay. But inside of this is 5 boxcars. For the most part, they're all a little different from each other. That's because only 2 of them, I believe, are the same type. And I'm going to be going over the history behind them, the unboxing, a quick little showing you what they are. I'm going to go ahead and open up the box. Again, this is the first time that I'm going to be looking at this. And I believe this is definitely a first From the Shipping Box, that there's 5 things to talk about in this for this box. Not sure how much of me is on screen, but you. Let's see here. And yes, we're using the classical razor blade. Just want to open. Oh, there we go. Okay. And as I've said in the past from the previous unboxing, oh wow, you say a very classic name for this brown paper, but wow, this is, that's different. Shop direct on trains.com, wider selection, lower prices, Trains rewards, earn points with every dollar spent, private car membership, exclusive 7-day preview. Looks like they're giving me $10 actually, because I spent roughly $200 on just some boxes. Making sure, yep, this is in fact my order. Okay, let's get to taking this paper off and seeing what's inside. And so I have no particular order of how I want to show everything, but oh my gosh, wow, this is so cool. First off, this is the first time that I'm actually getting Atlas Master Series stuff. I have a couple Train Man items I've had from a couple years ago. I had an industrial rail switcher when I was a kid, but this is the first time seeing Atlas Master Series stuff, and let's hope I pick a good one. Yeah, we'll do this one first. This is a Baltimore and Ohio, or it's an Atlas 3-rail, steam era, Baltimore and Ohio single sheath boxcar, and this will be a perfect comparison to my MTH Premier single sheath boxcar in Milwaukee Red that we'll compare a little bit after I unbox this one in particular. I'll get them all out of the box before I actually do the full unboxing. This was also a fun one. It's the same type of car. It's another single sheath. Atlas 3-rail, O-scale. Pennsylvania Railroad. I have barely anything Pennsy. I'm not the hugest fan of the Pennsylvania Railroad, but I will say that a nice diversity range of cars in my fleet would always be nice. And the Pennsy, this is the nice steam era with the white keystone and the white line above Pennsy. So this one will be fun to open up as well. This car, I can already tell, is going to be the most controversial that I show on camera, because this may be the only time in existence that I show this thing on camera in the box, besides the shop when we open it, where it's going to be in this paint. As much as I'd love to keep it in state of Maine, you know, Bangor and Rustic in the, you know, the New Haven potato car paint of all things, I bought this one to custom and do a one-off, so I'm very sorry. It's a little hard for me because this is the second Bangor and Rustic car I even own. But I'm going to make this diesel era car a steam era car for a custom railroad that is completely fictional. But I'm doing it for the hell of it, and also to be just that little different guy that everyone wants to make fun of. And I believe they just wrapped these 2 together. Yep, but in here, I could just see it through the bubble wrap, should be, let's see if I can get it on the can, right there, if you can see it through there. It's a Union Pacific double sheath boxcar, MTH Premier, and this one should be, yep, I can see the emblem. This is a New York Central, Pittsburgh and Lake Erie. I believe it's going to be a 1937 AAR boxcar. But without further ado, I'm going to clear the table. But that's it from the shipping box itself, and we'll look through the Baltimore and Ohio single sheath first. Alright, so here it is. I'm going to open up this car Now, I've spoken in the past, just do one of these real quick. The previous episode, I went over what the single shift car was, but I'll just do a brief rerun real quick. The single shift box cars were built during the end of World War I, when we needed more freight cars across this country. And two types of cars were built en masse. Single shift, which you see here, and double shift, which are a little bit different. Single shift cars have outside steel braces. It's a single shifting of wood that holds the car for support, and there is steel bracing across the car, similar to a truss bridge. While double shift cars were double shift of wood, but most of the support came from a frame underneath. I'll be able to show you a better demonstration later in the video. But here we go, we're opening it up out of the box. Like I said, first Atlas Master Series item. I wanted it to be this one in particular, and I just want to say, look at that. That just looks gorgeous, doesn't it? And this car surprisingly was on trains.com for not even $37, and I knew I had to pick it up. And there's one flaw with it. I will say the previous owner, he did weather this car, which is very nice. I do like to have a little bit of, like I said, diversity in my fleet. But there we go. Okay, it's that's all dust up there, which is okay. A little dust never hurt. That can be easily taken care of. There it is in the light, and yes, it does look different to the MTH one. I will say MTH does have better wood detailing, but it still looks awesome. The weight feels nice, and well, here's the reveal of why it was so low priced. It looks great on this side. You know, all the ladders are there. Yes, it looks like they're all here. There's actually a coupler cut bar on both sides. That's very interesting. But it's missing the door on the right side. Now, this doesn't piss me off too much, or really at all. I'm okay with this. In fact, like I said, it's something different. It just shows how tough these cars really were built. And in the real world, a couple times you would see a car without a door, just for how much they were used. You wouldn't really want to use it though, but you would see them very rarely. But they did happen like that without a door. But yes, looking at it from the sides, you know, the steel sides, basically wood. The wood inside looks nice. Whoever previously had this did a great job weathering it. You know, this is very good. The coupler cut bar, there we go. It was pushed in a little bit. But there's actually cut bars. You don't see that too often. Not sure about, you know, Atlas for the long run. I don't have too many Atlas cars like mentioned. But that's very cool. You have a coupler cut bar and all that on your freight cars. Little air hose, couplers. Do work. Closed. They feel very good. Very rigid. I do like the painted trucks as well, and let's just do the door test real quick. A little stiff, but it opens and closes. Okay, brake wheel, slightly turns. Okay, put it on the track real quick. Almost a silent runner. A little bit of friction, I will admit, on this one, but it could also be any of the paint that's on this since it was weathered. But overall, I'm actually very happy I bought this. And not to take up too much time, let's look at the Pensy version next, and then I'll go grab the single chef by MTH and we'll compare them to each. Okay, here we go, folks. Second car. Again, this is now my second Atlas Master Series piece of rolling stock. I like how Trains put the little rubber band across the box. I like that. Just want to point out, but you have Steam Era Classics. I don't feel like I pointed that out yet on the last one. Steam Era Classic. You got that right. These cars definitely were a classic. Now, looking at the box doesn't actually say, but I do know that the Pennsylvania Railroad loved to rename their stuff uniquely to their own, even if it was a standard thing. And I will say that it is printed on here. These cars were nicknamed the X26s on the Pensy, instead of it being the single chef. And this one, whoa, looks to be the warranty card. I don't think we got that in the B&O. So service under terms of the limited 1-year warranty. Return this half of the card to for your records. Thank you for buying this Atlas O product. Interesting. I'll look through that later, actually. See if there's anything cool on that. But that's the warranty card. I got the warranty included. Well, at least the card. I'm not going to go bashing these things open, so don't worry, folks. Same styrofoam. Same everything. Actually, there's one thing of tape on here. So it's just going to flop over a little like that. Ooh. For some reason, this feels a little bit lighter, and oh dear. Oh boy. Broken cut bar. Okay. That was one of the things on the selling. I remember one of the cars had a broken cut bar. I will grab some super glue actually and fix that. Is it just gonna stay on there, or no? I'll just take it off for now, but I'll super glue it back in place in a moment. That also looks to be. Ooh. Oh, okay. This was good thing. This was in the box. That is the little holder piece right there for the cut bar. That's something typical. Not a bad thing. It's fairly common for you to get something from Atlas and over time for it to break. I'm not upset about that at all. That's something that you're told is even under very normal use, Atlas stuff tends to fall apart because of how wonderfully detailed these things are. I can't stress that enough. These things are so beautifully built. They're just like the real thing. And the thing is, with the real ones though, you have a lot of room to work around. So I will fix that off camera. It is the back. This brake wheel is stiff. Doesn't actually want to turn too much. Noticing steel doors was the... No. The B&O one actually has a wooden door. So there we go. This one's slightly modified. Not sure if that was the Penske or not. I'll do some more research into that. But that is a steel door. It could be the X26 actually. But that is a steel door on a wooden car. Letting go with steel sides. But as you can see, this is a solid coat. You know, it's not weathered or anything. Very clean. Didn't look at the underframe either. That is very nice. Arguably, the wood detailing on the bottom is actually better than the wood you're supposed to see up here. Pennsylvania looks good. A little bit of styrofoam right there. There we go. Like nothing. Doors are actually very loose. The right door is very loose, which is fine. Put it on the track real quick. I'll do the coupler test after I just do this. Oh, this one definitely has that classic rolling sound. And I'll just do a coupler test. Well, bam. Very stiff. I like that about Atlas, I will say. Even on their Train Man stuff. I'm sure that's the very same kind of coupler mechanism. But very nice, tough, rigid couplers. I like that. Shows that they're not going to break too easily. Or at least they're tough. But I will go ahead, glue that off camera. I'll grab the MTH single shaft and we'll take a look at these things in a closer light. Alright, crisis averted. As I did on off camera, you'll see a little bit of the super glue residue. There we go, you can see a little bit of the residue, but I got it on eventually. And it still moves up and down. So I'm happy. But for the rest of the single shafts, so if you watched the first episode, or the second episode, here is the MTH Premier single shaft. Focus is being really weird. Love this thing. Here's the new weathered B&O. Has the same type of door, I've noticed, as the MTH one. Has that same kind of wooden door. But both of the Atlas ones have different trucks. And I'm pretty sure that's because these are the earlier... I'll have to look them up. I know the MTH one rides on AAR style Bettendorf trucks. But I'm pretty sure these are earlier era since they have a little more of a different look to them. And I'll bring the Penske one up just for a better view. You can see it really shine through on the black. That looks a little different versus the Premier ones. Now, I'm not upset about that. You know, manufacturers can only do so much to make something look perfect, you know, one-to-one. And that's just one of the things you have to accept in this hobby, is not everything is done to the 100% correct proportions and details and everything. But that's also some of the fun of this hobby, is, hey, what is done differently, you know? Trying to find the differences and all that. And that's actually one of the fun little facts. They both have, or both the Atlas ones and the MTH ones have little air hoses on them. You know, they couple together. I can demonstrate real quick. You know, I could just drop it in like that. MTH coupler talking to an Atlas one, and if I open up this coupler tab and open up this one and push them together, they'll couple and they'll close and they'll roll. But I will say that now I have 3 single shuts that I've opened. I do have one other. It's on the layout currently, so I can't get to it, but just saying, you know, this is the one without the door, the B&O. I believe this is the first B&O scale car that I have. This was also my first Milwaukee scale car. Pennsylvania, I'm not going to have too many Pennsy cars, so this is one of the few. Alright folks, this is the one I'm honestly a little more excited for than I should be. Mainly because all of the road names that you've seen so far, like I said, are the first that I've owned in O scale. I've had a couple O-gauge cars in my childhood and all that I've actually sold off to get the New Haven R1 Mountain. I sold most of my childhood collection off to get that thing. And I'm just ripping this. I thought I would have to cut it, and you know what, I'll cut this part because it looks like we'll need to, but this is definitely a first for me in the scale range. I want to get this one out first in particular. Is it this one? No, this one out first in particular. And that is because it is the first Union Pacific scale car I have owned. I have run, sorry, that's loud. I have run Union Pacific scale cars before at the museum, the Boothmore Railway Society. But I have not owned any of those cars until today. Well, this car. And it is also my favorite, I'm just gonna end up cutting this, my favorite wooden boxcar, or really it's my favorite type of boxcar on the rails, I should say, in rail history, was the double chef boxcar. It is my first MTH, double chef actually. Once I owned the Lionel one, I fell in love with the design. It was so awesome, the double chef car. I thought it was the coolest thing. There we go. Stiff bubble wrap. We'll put this one off to the side to look at later. This is the one that I'm really interested in. Oh yeah. Oh man, look at that. Gorgeous. That is gorgeous looking. Clean, mint condition, definitely. Get this rubber band off. Oh man. Okay. Noticing off the bat, the frame is plastic. Lionel's is die cast. I'm so used to holding these cars by the bottom and having that cold steel touch, and it's plastic. It's fine. Just wanted to say that I was expecting it to be colder. Doors stiff, but they open. Okay, the left door is stiff. The right door is very loose, which is fine by me. I love that Union Pacific system, the overland route. I love that emblem. Look at that. There we go. Look at that. And like I said, MTH is wood detailing. I don't know why, but Mike's stuff hits the light. It just reflects off the light, and it looks so much more interesting to look at. But with the steel roof and all that, this looks great. This car, I am so happy I got this. I don't care it didn't come in the box. Piston coupler test, that looks good. Wheels. Yep, put it on the track. Flawless. Sprung and all that. This is definitely going to spruce up some of the trains we run. So as I've mentioned in the past, single shaft cars are built like truss bridges, where they have the steel girders going up and down like that. But a double shaft car has, I believe in real life they had the double shafting, they had the wood going in two directions for the grain. But that wasn't enough support to keep the car going. It was built like a girder bridge, where it had two steel girders for extra support underneath the car, holding it, like I said, a girder bridge. Unlike the single shaft car, which this makes it look more like a traditional box car. It does, you know? Nothing too fancy going on. But all the support really was this big steel girder underneath, or the tube actually. But you know, they're about the same length, like I said. They actually are the same, or very same length. I lined them up to that. I lined them up to the back end. Yeah, I can't get them stacked, but take my word for it. They're roughly the same length. 40 scale feet. They're actually the same width. The Lionel ones look a little fatter, which, like I said, is fine. Not complaining about this, folks. Just saying that, you know, manufacturers have slight differences, and that's the fun in looking between them. In fact, the bottom rail is actually, I'm missing one of the pieces there, but the bottom door rail is actually a few pegs instead of it being a full rail, which that is interesting. Can't say I've seen that too many times. Again, it's cool. You know, this is what makes collecting freight cars unique and cool, is when you get a totally new car, it throws a whole new, you know, perspective on your other cars, and, you know, the new ones you're gonna get and which ones you like, or which ones do stuff differently, you know? But yeah, this is actually, hold on, what is this? Built by General American Car Co., Chicago, Illinois, June 1925. That's what that says down there. Very cool. Very cool, very cool. I'm yabbering on now. Let's get to the PNLE car, and then we'll do the last unboxing. Now, this is going to be an interesting one, folks. This car is, as I mentioned, this Union Pacific double shaft is my favorite box car. No doubt. Double shafts are awesome. You just need to, like, see one in person. The 1937 style AAR boxcar is my favorite steel boxcar. And it's not just the fact of how they look, just that little bit so different but iconic. But it's what they did to the American railroad industry. I believe in the late 1920s, steel boxcar, or all steel boxcars, were tested. And they didn't really go all too great. They had a lot of key differences between the roads. And in 1937, the AAR, they decided to say, okay, we're going to make a standardization of steel boxcars to come. Very, very few differences across the entire fleet of these things made were ever changed. Most of them were identical to each other. And I have to say, this Pittsburgh and Lake Erie one is really nice looking. It has that typical MTH steel corrugated roof. It has the nice wood treading on top. Nice steel doors, open up to reveal the steel frame, or the steel base inside the doors, like I said. Ooh, this one does not want to close. There it goes. So you notice one time, doors always want to either close or not close. It's never like one or the other. Also, I am missing the ladders. I'm missing one ladder there. Doesn't annoy me. Just wanted to point out that they're missing though. Couplers do open. I'll do a rolling test in a second, but I wanted to say, you're not seeing that wrong. New York Central System. That is correct. New York Central. Pittsburgh and Lake Erie, the PNLE, or Pittsburgh and Lake Erie, was a subsidiary bought by the New York Central, or bought and operated by the New York. If you're thinking Pittsburgh like Pennsylvania, well, it was actually, the Pittsburgh and Lake Erie was run by the New York. And in this area, we have a lot of New York Central fans, and Pittsburgh and Lake Erie does not get a lot of love like it should. Just a rolling test. Runs like a dream. And I was also going to say I have a lot of friends who are part of my Discord. There'll be more information at the end of this video if you want to find out about that. But I have a lot of people in there that love the New York Central, and they love that emblem and the little song about it. So this is definitely going to be a fan favorite for sure. Like I said, they were built in the late 1930s. They paved the way for what boxcars would be in the future with their all steel design. No real need for a big underframe underneath besides this frame here. You know, it's all steel. There's like not too much wood except for the tread plates, which later on modern day boxcars don't even have walkways on the top. Like I said, these things pave the way for future railroading. They're great cars to have, you know, nice 40 feet. And this is what basically started the later start of American railroading, and you would see these all the time on your your late steam freight trains and your early diesel freight trains. You would see these all the time everywhere, and they were almost identical to each other. The AAR car stuck out as a very standard car and beloved by many. And here is the last car of this order, folks. I'm just seeing already the brake wheel is loose. In fact, it's detached. But this is it. This is the biggest car that I ordered. It is I need to actually look at the side of the box. This is an Atlas O 50-foot PS1 single-door box car. Bangor & Rustic, number 6107, 3-rail variation. I am so sorry to say, for any of you who love the Bangor & Rustic, especially that this is limited edition, this car is not going to stay B&A. I'm going to be modeling this car to be something different than what it is. I picked it up because it was $35. It was the cheapest of these cars, and to anyone who wants to preserve or keep these cars the way they are, well, I'll just put it like this. There's one of them out there, or there's one less out there, which makes the other ones a little more valuable, but they're mint. And I'm definitely, the first thing I'm going to do before I even, you know, go out in the yard, spray paint this thing. Oop, noticing we got a warranty card again. Yay! It's a little bent, but actually your Golden Spike Club application packet. Interesting. Keep that in mind. Anything else fun to fall out? Nope. Well, there it is. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually swap out the trucks. And holy cow, there is a good amount of weight on this. I can tell already. This is very heavy. Of the car. And let me take this brake wheel out while I'm at it. And it did break off in the shipping process. Oh darn. Like I said, Atlas's stuff is so nicely made that it falls apart. But okay, here it is, folks. Doors. Nice. That is how I expect the door to open. A little bit of stiffness, but it gives. Very nicely painted. It has the extended knuckles, which that is, yeah, that's the first thing I'm doing. Swapping out the couplers, or the whole trucks themselves, because it also has the rotating bearing caps, which I have a contender. Ooh, that one doesn't want to turn for some reason. I have a contender to swap these things out with. Yep, there we go. I just got to put the brake wheel back on. Frame looks nice, but I am going to sadly take this thing apart, spray paint all the components to a solid gray of all things. It's going to be just solid gray, nothing special to look at until I apply the artwork on there. If you've been following up on me, and if you're watching this in the future, I'm saying that as in the video was updated later, you'll know what the S&W stands for. But this is what it was beforehand, Bangor & Rustic. 50-foot, but I needed a 50-foot car, single door, for the whole point of making an old meme a real thing. But I gotta say, I am heavily impressed by this thing. You know, the couplers, like I said, I don't really like the adjusted couplers, although they apparently were prototypical to have the coupler sticking out a bit on later kinds of 50-foot cars. That was something you would notice. That's about it. I can say that at least the PS1 box cars were built by Pullman Standard. That's what PS stands for, if you didn't know. The Pullman Standard Type 1s were the box cars. This is the 50-foot variation of the PS1. This one in particular was built in the 60s for the Bangor to Rustic Railroad. It was painted in the, I believe with the products involved, it would involve the potatoes. That's at least how the New Haven had them. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the first episode of From the Shipping Box, where I talk all about the New Haven potato cars. And they used the state of Maine paint scheme because it was actually cheaper to do so, since they would be doing the same purpose, except run by the New Haven, not the B&A. But I will say it's going to be a darn shame painting this over. I will admit, I'm not happy that I'm going to paint over a B&A car. Again, sorry folks, but this is the last time you're going to see this car like this on camera.